Hi, I'm Jill Miller. This is Indie Author Jill, where we highlight authors that are either indie authors or self-published authors. And today we're looking at a book called A String of Fate in the Darkness by Azzie Drauch. This one I was kind of really looking forward to because back in high school, it seemed like in high school everybody was either interested heavily in Greek mythology or Egyptian mythology. There was no middle ground. There was no other mythology that anybody else seemed really interested in. And I fell into the Greek mythology group, and my favorite gods were Hades and Hermes. And I loved Hermes because Hermes just had such ADHD energy, and I related very strongly to that particular god, just kind of flighty, flying all around, delivering messages, and just up to shenanigans. And I think that Azzie really caught his characteristics in this book. This is a romance novel between Hades and Persephone, and I like the take that Azzie has on the different Greek gods, especially Persephone is the daughter of Demeter, the goddess of harvest. Persephone herself is the goddess of spring, and when she decides to leave her mother's house and join the mortal realm for a little while and pretend to be immortal, she decides to be a detective, which I thought was... It fits for the personality I had always kind of assumed with Persephone. I could absolutely see her being someone who would want to bring justice for people who had been wronged. And there's this mystery going on. There's this demigod, Alexandros, who... There's a lot of jealousy between the demigods with the mortals because there are favored mortals that are favored by the gods, and the demigods feel like they're kind of being pushed out of the way and whatnot. So they start kidnapping a lot of the favored mortals, and the gods of Olympus are not happy with this. And so Hades decides to get involved because some of the gods that he has a close relationship with, their favored mortals are disappearing, so he decides he's going to get involved and start helping them out, and that's how he ends up meeting Persephone, and the two of them start kind of working together to try and solve this case as to who's behind it, and they eventually find out that it is Alexandros, but they don't really know who he is. They had to... he does a really good job of keeping his face mysterious so that nobody knows who it is. But eventually they do figure out who it is, and the nymph that is working with Hades, Menth, is very jealous of Persephone, so she's throwing in wrenches into the gearworks that don't need to be there, that's making everything harder. And Hermes keeps showing up because god of messengers, you know, and the kind of banter, I love the banter between Hades and Hermes. They are definitely, they're definitely family. Hermes comes to Hades' office, and Hades walks in and he's like, pretty sure that door was locked, and Hermes is like, yeah, what's your point? And he's just kicked back and enjoying a bottle of one of Hades' wines and just like not a care in the world. And the two banter a lot back and forth anytime that they're together, but they do have a kinship when Hades, at one point, he's planning a surprise for Persephone, and he's working on one aspect of it, and Hermes comes up and he says, okay, this, and this is all set in place, and he's like, great, and he hands him what's in his hands, and he's like, will you finish this up for me? And Hermes is like, yeah, sure, no problem. She's gonna love this, you know? Like, they have that really cool relationship, almost a brotherly relationship that you would normally see in between mortals. I can't remember if Hermes is I think he is a brother of Hades, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been so long since I've studied the Greek mythology, but I can't remember if he's a brother or a nephew. I think he's a brother. But they definitely have that relationship, the familial relationship with each other, and Hermes is very much a pesky little brother that you can't help but love. And Hades, he is very strong, he's very stoic, he's very majestic in his presence, and anytime people come in contact with them, their eyes are like, whoa. You know, they're full of fear, and they don't want to really mess with him. So it makes it very kind of gutsy for anybody who wants to mess with Persephone, because he has made it very clear that she is off limits. Nobody is allowed to touch her. Nobody is allowed to bother with her. And anyone who does so is going to have to deal with him. And it ends on a cliffhanger. So if you're not a fan of cliffhangers, maybe wait until the next one comes out. Also, there is a spicy scene. So if you're a fan of spicy scenes, and you're the kind that likes the spicy scenes and wishes they would go on a little bit longer, there is a spicy scene in here that is like 4 or 5 pages long, where between Persephone and Hades. And I spent so much time as a teenager exploring the Greek mythos, and so for this one I skipped the scene because it just didn't seem appropriate for me to be hanging out with Hades and Persephone in their cozy cuddle time, so I just left it myself. That's just my personal preference. Like I've said before, I don't have a genre really that I don't like or don't gravitate to. I like everything. And for spice, it's just kind of a mood thing for me, and I was not in the mood for spicy scenes this time, so I just skipped by it. And there was like 4 or 5 pages of their intimacy. So if you like those longer scenes, but if you don't, it's an easy skip. It's Azzie has the everything broken up into these little nuggets, I guess, these paragraphs that are in blocks. So it's easy to kind of scan the page and say, okay, we're still in a spicy scene, okay, we're still in a spicy scene, and find where the spicy scene ends. So it's an easy enough skip. The links for this will be in the descriptions below. Also, definitely follow Azzie Drauch, because she is doing some book signings, and most of her signings, I believe, are around the Wichita area. So definitely be keeping an eye out for the different book signings so that you can go and get your own copy and get it signed by the author herself. I will leave links to this book down below and links to Azzie's socials so you can follow her and find out where all her book signings are going to be taking place. Until next time, that's all I've got for you until July 1st, because this was the last of my June reads. And on July 1st, I will be doing a wrap-up of the 4 books: The Storm Captain, Stay At Poem Dad, The Nameless Restaurant, and The String of Fates in the Darkness. I will do a wrap up and tell you the ratings that I've given all 4 of these on Amazon.com, because I don't typically do ratings on these longer videos because I prefer the videos to just kind of focus in on the artists, the authors themselves and their books, and tell you what I liked about it, and just highlight them. So we can do the ratings in the recap video on July 1st. I will see you then. Until next time, I will talk to you later. Hit all the things, like, subscribe, and all that.